All right, Mr. Foreman, if that is indeed your real name, what did you do on the day of yesterday?
Remember when Fox took a show about absolutely nothing happening in a Wisconsin basement and turned it into appointment television for 8 years? That 70s show ran from 1998 to 2006, squeezed 4 in-universe years into 8 real ones, and convinced an entire generation that wood paneling and circle sessions were peak entertainment. But behind all the laugh track, there's a treasure trove of bizarre stories. Today, we're counting down those weird and totally wild facts about the show that made the 70s cool again, in the late 90s. Now, before we head to the basement, be sure to like and subscribe. It helps YouTube show this video to more retro TV fans just like you. Now, let's get into the countdown with number 15, The Who Said No, So the Show Got Petty. Before that 70s show locked in its now iconic title, the producers had their hearts set on something with more rock credibility, because nothing says 70s quite like The Who. The early contenders? Teenage Wasteland, pulled from the lyrics of The Who's Baba O'Riley and The Kids Are Alright, named after the band's 1965 single and 1979 documentary. But The Who, or more likely their lawyers, weren't having it. The titles got shot down, and just like that, the show's dream of rock and roll branding died before it aired. So the team went with what was supposed to be a temporary placeholder. That 70s show. It felt generic, almost boring, but co-creator Bonnie Turner pointed out that's what everyone was calling it anyway. Sometimes the most obvious choice is the right one. Plus, nobody could sue them over it. Still, the writers didn't forget. When it came time to name episodes, they found a new way to pay tribute. Starting in season 5, every single episode title came from classic rock songs. Led Zeppelin, The Rolling Stones, Queen, and, of course, The Who. Season 6, all The Who, all season long. Every single episode title came from the band that wouldn't let them use their name for the show. Talk about creative revenge. So yeah, The Who said no to the front door, but the show brought them in through the back anyway, and made them part of that 70s show for the rest of its run. Sometimes the best revenge is just being persistent. Number 14, Mila Kunis lied her way into the show and got her first kiss. Mila Kunis was 14 when she auditioned for that 70s show, a role that required an 18-year-old. Her solution? Tell casting she'd be 18, just not when.
Me, my
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. You're just too shy to say that, lover. So, when were you a Boy Scout?
By the time anyone did the math, she'd already nailed Jackie Burkhart so perfectly that firing her would have been like replacing the original Aunt Viv on The Fresh Prince. You could do it, but everyone's gonna notice and nobody's gonna be happy about it. And get this, her very first kiss, ever, was with 20-year-old Ashton Kutcher on camera.
Lover.
Oh, yeah.
Please stop touching each other. It gives me needs.
Awkward doesn't begin to cover it. Imagine your first kiss is with a 20-year-old on camera with a crew of 30 people watching and someone yelling, "Cut, let's do it again." Most of us remember our first kiss as awkward. Mila's is in syndication. Fast forward 2 decades and they're married with kids. So yeah, Mila lied to get the part, got her first kiss on national TV, and ended up marrying the guy. Meanwhile, the rest of us still have voicemails from first dates we're still too scared to listen to. Number 13, Jackie's mom got a supermodel upgrade and nobody said a word. Recasting happens. Sometimes an actor isn't available. Sometimes the chemistry's off. Sometimes the network just decides to shake things up a bit. But when that 70s show recast Jackie Burkhart's mother, they didn't just swap actors, they went from Girl Next Door to International Supermodel and cranked Pam's vanity up to 11.
Mom, if you keep thinking this way, you'll always be running from one place to another looking for something better instead of just being happy with what you have. You know, I guess you have a lot of thinking to do.
The change was noticeable. Now, in the Burkhart family tree, we had Jackie, spoiled princess extraordinaire, and her mother Pam, who was basically what happened when you gave a narcissist a credit card and zero parenting skills. Pam was the kind of glamorous disaster who made you think, well, now Jackie makes perfect sense. So, Pam first popped up in season 1, played by none other than Eve Plum, aka Jan Brady herself. And listen, casting Jan Brady as someone's flaky mom That's some next level meta casting right there, but it was basically a blink and you miss it appearance, because then poof, Pam disappeared faster than Eric's spine whenever Red gave him the look. Fast forward to season 6 and suddenly Pam's back, except now she's Brooke Shields. Yeah, Jackie's mom went from middle Brady to literal supermodel overnight. Talk about a glow up that defied the laws of genetics and common sense. But here's the thing, this wasn't just random stunt casting. This was genius stunt casting.
I just love coming over to your house. You have such unique tastes. It's like being in a giant flea market.
You want to play Jackie's vain, self-obsessed, I'm basically a teenager in my mom's body mother? Well, get an actual supermodel who spent the 80s being gorgeous for a living. Shields didn't just phone it in either. She appeared in 7 episodes and absolutely nailed Pam's shallow, my daughter is basically my competition energy. The switch was about as subtle as a disco ball in a monastery, but somehow it worked perfectly. Plum's version had been more subdued, but Shields went full throttle with the vanity and self-absorption.
Oh, what a lovely evening. If I didn't know any better, I'd swear I was with rich people.
Oh, she's got it all. Looks and beauty.
She made Pam into this fabulous disaster who you simultaneously wanted to laugh at and get therapy recommendations from. Sure, fans noticed. I mean, going from Jan Brady to Calvin Klein's poster girl isn't exactly a stealth move, but in classic sitcom tradition, the show just pretended like nothing happened and kept the laugh track rolling. And honestly, Brooke Shields made the character so memorable that most fans forget Pam was ever played by anyone else. When you think of Jackie's nightmare mom, you think of Shields. Proof that sometimes the best way to fix a recast is to go so big and so bold and so perfectly cast that the original version becomes a footnote. Mission accomplished. Number 12, The Circle's Strawberry Scented Secret. Everyone remembers The Circle, that hazy basement ritual where the camera slowly panned around the gang philosophizing about, deep stuff. Very deep, very philosophical, totally legal stuff. But here's the trick. That smoke wasn't fake. It was real. The cast would sometimes smoke actual cigarettes during filming to create the haze, and the crew burned strawberry-scented incense to mask the smell. So yeah, those basement scenes literally smelled like cigarettes mixed with a Yankee Candle store.
Come on, people, hop too! Thank you. Light!
The camera setup was pure genius. By circling the group instead of focusing on individuals, they could imply everything without showing anything. Network censors stayed happy, college kids got the joke, and everyone's parents thought they were just really into incense, which technically they kind of were. The whole thing worked because the show never said what they were doing, just showed a bunch of teenagers sitting in a circle, getting giggly and philosophical while real smoke curled around them. Plausible deniability at its finest.
This is what you normally do? I used to do this too back when I was being an artist. I love art. I hate work.
It's one of the most ingenious sitcom cheats of the 1990s. Real smoke standing in for the illegal kind, camera tricks instead of close-ups, and a wink to the audience that everyone understood. Now try watching The Circle without imagining that strawberry haze thick enough to set off a smoke detector. Number 11, Tommy Chong's real-life disappearing act. Leo seemed like the most reliable presence in the basement until he suddenly vanished for 2 seasons. Now, for anyone that didn't grow up on Cheech and Chong albums or catch Up in Smoke on late night cable, Tommy Chong wasn't just playing a stoner, he was the counterculture icon who practically invented weed comedy in the 70s. So, when Leo disappeared, it wasn't some contract dispute. No California Dreams, no finding himself storyline, no explanations, he just disappeared. The reason? Tommy Chong was serving 9 months in federal prison for selling bongs. I mean, you really couldn't script a more Leo-esque excuse if you tried.
Well, I don't expect a lot, man. Like, pretty much if the hut doesn't burn down, it's been a good day.
Chong's arrest came during Operation Pipe Dreams, a DEA crackdown on drug paraphernalia nationwide, which sounds like a rejected Austin Powers plot, but was in fact very, very real. While Leo was MIA, fans definitely noticed the absence. He simply reappeared in season 7 like he'd been on a long Grateful Dead tour. Same denim vest, same stoner wisdom, same blissful smile, and probably some interesting new stories about federal facilities.
That was a good idea. Now, how are we going to pay for dinner?
From counterculture icon to federal prisoner to nostalgic reboot cameo, Leo's journey is peak Tommy Chong. Only he could turn a federal conviction into sitcom trivia gold. And somehow, at 80-something years old, he reprised the character in that 90s show which ran from 2023 to 2024, proving that Leo's commitment to the bit outlasted both his prison sentence and the actual 90s itself. Number 10, a character died for a laugh. By season 8, that 70s show was running on fumes, and apparently so was its sense of logic. With Topher Grace and Ashton Kutcher leaving, the writers brought in a new guy named Charlie, played by Brett Harrison, to act as a replacement. He worked at the same car shop as Red, hung out in the basement, seemed genuinely likable, all the makings of a solid addition to the group, for about 5 minutes. Charlie showed up in a few episodes at the end of season 7, made some friends, laughed at some jokes, and even fell off the Point Place water tower. We all thought this could work. Then, in the first episode of season 8, the gang casually mentions Charlie fell off the Point Place water tower and died.
The beer!
That was a pretty awkward landing.
Complete with a laugh track. That's right, they turned a character's death into a punchline. Fans were stunned. There was no grief, no tribute, not even a moment of awkward silence. The gang mentioned their new friend's death the same way you'd mention running out of milk.
His name was Charlie, you cantaloupe.
Kelso, you've fallen off this thing like 10 times. It's so scary to think you could have, met the same fate as Charlie.
A quick gag, laugh track, now back to the basement. The show never mentioned Charlie again, which made the whole thing feel less like a bold creative choice and more like someone lost a bet in the writer's room. Behind the scenes, Brett Harrison had landed a new role elsewhere and chose to leave the show. Weird creative choices, dropped storylines, and the growing sense that nobody was steering the ship anymore. Killing off a new character for a joke wasn't just bizarre, it was a sign that the party in Point Place was officially over. Number 9, Donna's sister vanished. Now, here's a trivia nugget most fans miss. Donna Pinciotti had a little sister named Tina, and then poof, she didn't. 14-year-old Tina Pinciotti, played by Amanda Fuller, showed up in exactly one episode of that 70s show.
Hello, pretty lady.
Hi! She's not a pretty lady, she's my sister, and she's 14.
Season 1's Eric's Burger Job. She popped into Donna's party, flirted with Fez, had maybe 3 lines of dialogue, and that was it. She vanished. Gone, like your MySpace account. You know it existed once, but good luck proving it now. But here's where it got weird. The show itself actually acknowledged the plot hole. In the season 2 episode Van Stock, an announcer broke the fourth wall during the credits, in full soap opera narrator voice, because Midge had been binge-watching daytime television all episode, and asked whatever happened to Midge's daughter Tina.
And whatever happened to Midge's daughter Tina?
It was the writer's way of saying, yeah, we dropped that storyline, you noticed, now let's never speak of it again. After Tina disappeared, Donna was officially an only child for the next 7 seasons. There was no sibling, no explanations, no awkward Thanksgiving dinners where someone might ask, hey, where's your sister? Behind the scenes, producers reportedly felt Donna worked better as an only child. Fewer threads to juggle, cleaner character arcs, and as for Amanda Fuller, she didn't exactly disappear. She went on to star in Last Man Standing and Orange is the New Black, so yeah, Tina Pinciotti got erased from sitcom history, but Amanda Fuller did just fine without her. Number 8, Fez's Homeland, the greatest mystery in Point Place. Now, across 8 seasons, that 70s show told us everything about Fez.
Now, I am off to spend the rest of my American money on candy and porno.
His love of candy, his borderline stalker obsession with Donna, his wildly inconsistent track record with women, sometimes smooth, often creepy, always somehow confusing, but the one thing it never told us, where he was actually from. Fez's country of origin was one of the show's longest running gags. Every time he was about to reveal it, something got in the way. His full name, drowned out by a school bell.
Well, my name is...
Pointing to his country on a map, it was blocked by someone's head. A friend from home visiting? They'd only say the island's name. Depends on whether you ask the British or the Dutch.
Okay, just tell us, what's the name of your country?
Well, that depends on whether you ask the British or the Dutch.
And the English won't say it because they hate the island. The name Fez wasn't even his real name. It was literally just foreign exchange student, shortened to Fez. The gang basically nicknamed him the foreign kid and he just went with it. Peak 70s sensitivity right there.
Oh, hello.
Who the hell are you?
I'm the new foreign exchange student. The football team asked me if I wanted to hang out.
Fans have spent decades trying to piece together clues. He's mentioned his country never fought a war, except for that time they won the war against Britain, so helpful. The accent didn't help either. Wilmer Valderrama intentionally played it so vague that Fez sounded like he could be from literally anywhere with a coastline and a complicated colonial history. The writers eventually confirmed there is no answer. His origin was left deliberately vague because the ambiguity was the joke, and honestly, after 8 seasons of build-up, any real answer would have been a letdown anyway. Now, if this trip back to Point Place is hitting your nostalgia sweet spot, give this video a thumbs up and tell us in the comments, what's your ultimate That 70s Show memory? Now, let's get back to the countdown with number 7, the show's impossible timeline. That 70s Show was supposed to cover 4 years, 1976 to 1979. Simple enough, right? Well, across 8 seasons, there were 5 Christmas episodes, multiple New Year's, and enough Eric Foreman birthdays to make Benjamin Button look jealous.
Surprise! Birthday breakfast, and this is it, young man. A few gifts tonight, the end.
Because apparently time itself got confused by all that basement smoke. Fans have spent years debating how many times Eric turned 17, whether seasons overlapped, or if Point Place existed in some kind of polyester time warp where disco never died and gas was always under $1. The timeline became such a mess that continuity errors turned into running jokes, and honestly, by season 6, even the writers seemed to have given up on basic math. By the final seasons, writers clearly cared more about gags than calendars.
Foreman beat up by a girl. Seems like only yesterday. Oh wait, I think it happened yesterday too.
You like that story, Hyde? Maybe I should talk about the first time you and I met. No. Yes. No. Yes.
You promised!
I'm telling!
Character development? Sure. Actual development through time? Not so much. Because who needs linear progression when you've got laugh tracks and wood paneling, am I right? But here's the thing. That messy timeline hasn't hurt the show's legacy at all. If anything, it's part of the charm. That 70s Show exists in a permanent 1970-something where it's always almost New Year's and Eric's always almost graduating. Sometimes the best nostalgia trips ignore the rules of space and time. Number 6, the theme song's Rockstar Makeover.
Hanging out down the street.
That sing-along anthem, Hanging Out Down the Street, is burned into every fan's brain like a nostalgic tattoo, but it started as In the Street by cult band Big Star back in the actual 1970s. For season 1, producers used a cover by Todd Griffin that captured the vibe but didn't quite stick. Like a knockoff version of your favorite song that's almost right but somehow is also completely wrong. Then, Cheap Trick entered the picture. The Rockford legends, already famous for Surrender and I Want You to Want Me, recorded their own version for season 2. That became the show's definitive anthem, blasting over every opening until the finale because when rock royalty offers to sing your theme song, you don't say no. The Cheap Trick connection gave That 70s Show instant rock credibility. Suddenly, it wasn't just a sitcom about teenagers, it carried the stamp of a band that defined the late 70s and early 80s. They still perform the theme live at concerts and entire crowds sing along, proof that a good theme song can outlive the show itself. Number 5, That 80s Flop and That 90s Mistake. Hollywood loves chasing lightning twice. Unfortunately for That 70s Show, every time someone tried, they got electrocuted. First up, That 80s Show, the 2002 experiment that thought you could bottle nostalgia just by adding neon and synthesizers. Set in 1984 San Diego, It followed Corey Howard, played by Glenn Howerton years before It's Always Sunny, a struggling musician surrounded by every 1980s stereotype imaginable. A punk rock girlfriend, a yuppie best friend, and a sister who went from Valley Girl to environmental crusader.
Okay, thanks for dropping by. I'm just gonna let myself out.
The problem lied in that 80s show focusing on the decade instead of the people. It treated the 80s like a costume party, all surface and no soul. Every joke screamed, "Hey, remember this?" without giving viewers a reason to actually care about what this is. No connections to that 70s show, no returning characters, just wall-to-wall references to Rubik's Cubes and MTV. Critics panned it. Audiences shrugged, and it fizzled after 13 episodes. The equivalent of a perm gone wrong. Fast forward to 2023 when Netflix tried again with that 90s show. This time it was a full-blown sequel following Leah Foreman, daughter of Eric and Donna, as she spent the summer of 1995 with Grandma Kitty and Grandpa Red. On paper, it sounded like a slam dunk. In reality, it was more like a participation trophy. The good news was that Kurtwood Smith and Deborah Jo Rupp absolutely carried the thing, proving two sitcom legends could hold up an entire decade on their own. The bad news? Pretty much everything else.
Well, I miss them. It's been too quiet around here for me, Red.
Well, then get a parrot. And if that's not enough squawking for you, invite your sister.
The new cast of teens felt more like extras at a 90s theme party than actual kids from 1995. And the writing leaned so hard on nostalgia cameos it felt more like a reunion special stretched across 2 seasons. Fans tuned in at first, but by season 2 the audience vanished faster than Kelso's IQ. Critics called the new characters flat, the jokes forced, and the 90s vibe more Spirit Halloween than grunge-era authenticity. Netflix quietly pulled the plug in 2024 after 2 seasons, citing low viewership. In the end, that 70s show remains the lightning in a bottle everyone else tried to copy. Number 4, a sprained ankle and a high school play launched Topher Grace's career. Before he was Eric Foreman, Topher Grace wasn't an actor. He wasn't even trying to be one. He was just a regular high school kid who loved tennis, until a sprained ankle sidelined him and changed his life forever. In 1997, teenage Topher was cast as the lead in his high school's production of A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum at Brewster Academy in New Hampshire. Nothing unusual there until you consider who was sitting in the audience. Bonnie and Terry Turner, the husband and wife team behind Wayne's World and Third Rock from the Sun, were there to support their daughter Lindsay, who was working on set design. So, one night, the Turners show up to watch their daughters play, see this lanky, funny kid steal every scene, and decide he's their Eric Foreman.
Empty pool, empty house, full keg. Sure know how to show a girl a good time.
Yeah, well, I don't color outside the lines often, but when I do, jump back low red.
Just like that, Hollywood careers have started in stranger ways, but not by much. A year later, Topher was a freshman at USC studying economics, not acting, when the Turners tracked him down and invited him to audition. No agent, no training, and absolutely no idea what he was doing. When the casting director asked for a headshot and resume, Grace showed up with a photo from Six Flags and a work history that consisted of Dunkin' Donuts and a video store. In Hollywood terms, he was spectacularly unqualified. In Bonnie and Terry Turner terms, he was perfect. But somehow, the kid who couldn't even fake a professional resume nailed the audition. The Turners hired him on the spot. Grace later called it his weird origin story, and he's not wrong. One sprained ankle, one high school musical, one lucky night, and suddenly that 70s show had a lead actor who'd never acted professionally in his life.
Wait, you weigh 400 pounds together? It doesn't matter. The fact is that the tap is broken and it's your fault. Morons!
You are so rude. Give us our $4 back.
Okay, Fez.
Not bad for a guy who just wanted to make varsity tennis. Number 3, the British remake that nobody watched. In 1999, British television looked at that 70s show and thought, yeah, we could do that. And by do that, we mean copy the US version almost word for word. ITV rolled out Days Like These, a remake that tried to transplant Wisconsin basement humor to a British sitting room. The concept was simple. Too simple, actually. Change a few cultural references, toss in some British slang, and hope the accent would be enough.
Eric and Donna and Bjorn, that foreign lad, and me, Dylan. Oh, pretty much everyone. And you.
Oh, good. Thank you for telling me, Michael.
The result? A nostalgia transplant that flatlined on arrival. Days Like These starred Max Rodaslee as Eric, Rosie Marcel as Donna, Harry Peacock as Dylan, the Hyde equivalent, and James Carlton as Michael, aka British Kelso. They were perfectly fine actors, just trapped in dialogue that made zero cultural sense. The whole thing felt like watching a Wisconsin keg party through a BBC filter. Turns out, the American brand of polyester-clad suburbia doesn't translate when you move it to a British sitting room. Lines that worked in a Wisconsin basement just sounded off in Luton. Dumbass loses something in translation when it's not Kurtwood Smith saying it. 13 episodes were made, but ITV pulled the plug after 10. The rest were dumped in late-night purgatory. And to make things even more awkward, the real That 70s Show was already airing on British cable and doing just fine, thank you very much. In the end, Days Like These proved that some shows are better left alone, especially when the original is already available and working just fine. Number 2, the Eric replacement that nobody wanted. When Topher Grace left before the final season, producers faced a nightmare scenario: recast Eric Foreman or create a replacement. For a terrifying moment, new Eric was actually on the table. Yeah, somebody actually thought that was going to be a good idea. But when Topher Grace, who played Eric, left after season 7, the show faced a crisis bigger than running out of beer in Red's garage. As a solution, they introduced Randy Pearson, played by Josh Meyers in season 8. Randy was a laid-back record store guy who dated Donna and cracked one-liners. The problem was that fans hated him instantly. You know, it was like introducing a new friend to your established group and watching everyone's faces drop.
Hey, Randy, come here, I gotta talk to you.
Yeah, sure, but check this out first. See these guys over there? They think Leo's an almond brother.
Why would they think that?
I told them!
Internally, the character emerged after Meyers was nearly cast as Eric. Instead, Randy was crafted as a fresh addition, and he appeared in 21 of 22 final season episodes. Eric made a brief uncredited return in the finale, basically a cameo in his own show.
Well, kids, it looks like you're really in some deep...
You're not funny.
Randy was meant to be a blend of Eric's sarcasm and Kelso's goofiness. Instead, he came off like a focus group's idea of cool basement guy, all the personality of store brand soda. He didn't have the chemistry with the gang, and worse, his romance with Donna felt like an insult to 7 years of Eric and Donna investment. Even the cast has admitted that season 8 was a mess. It was like watching your favorite band try to continue after the lead singer quit. To this day, some fans blame Randy for killing That 70s Show. It's not all Meyers' fault, no one could have replaced Eric, but Randy remains sitcom history's cautionary tale. Don't force-feed fans a replacement character. Sometimes, the smartest move is knowing when to just end the show. Something That 70s Show learned one season too late. Number 1, Laurie Foreman, the sister from Hell who ended up in jail. Every sitcom needs a little chaos, and on That 70s Show it came in the form of Laurie Foreman, Eric's older sister, Red's favorite child, and the undisputed queen of manipulation. She was the family's resident troublemaker, equal parts flirt, schemer, and walking bad decision. If Eric was the heart of the Foremans, Laurie was the hangover. Lisa Robin Kelly nailed the role with every smirk and side-eye landing like a perfectly timed slap of sibling sarcasm. But off-screen, Kelly was dealing with her own struggles. Around 2001, she developed serious issues with alcohol and substance abuse. Her real-life challenges eventually caught up with her character. Midway through season 3, Laurie was abruptly written out with the flimsy excuse of going to beauty school, because apparently that's what you tell people when you can't say what's really happening behind the scenes. She returned briefly in season 5, just long enough to remind us what we'd been missing.
Laurie.
Hey, little brother.
You're back.
But after 4 episodes, Kelly was let go for good. Then, in season 6, Laurie reappeared, except she was suddenly different. The role had been recast with Christina Moore, who brought a softer, less diabolical take to the character. Moore did fine with what she was given, but her Laurie felt more like a mischievous cousin than the tornado of manipulation we'd come to love. It was like swapping out a chainsaw for a butter knife.
Don't touch me.
Fine, I'll give you $20 to pretend to be my wife.
It's gotta sound familiar.
After 6 episodes, Moore's Laurie disappeared too. No exit scene, no heartfelt goodbye, not even a postcard from beauty school. The show never explained where she went. Fans jokingly decided she moved to Canada, sitcom code for we have no idea what to do with this character anymore. Years later, the Netflix sequel series That 90s Show finally gave a darkly funny update. Laurie ended up in jail, which, let's be honest, felt like the most believable ending possible for the Foreman family's favorite agent of chaos. As for the actresses, their paths couldn't have been more different. Lisa Robin Kelly's struggles sadly continued after leaving the show. She passed away in 2013 at the age of 43 while trying to get help for her addictions. A tragic ending to a life that deserved better. Christina Moore, on the other hand, had worked steadily in Hollywood, from Mad TV and 90210 to True Blood and co-creating the military comedy Enlisted. Her version of Laurie may not have stuck, but her career certainly did. And there you have it, 15 weird and wild facts about That 70s Show. Which revelation shocked you most? Did we miss any deep cut trivia that would make even Leo proud? Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more nostalgic deep dives into the shows that defined a generation. And until next time, remember, this is Remember When.